Ladies, prepare to be ignited by the unstoppable force, Cynthia Barnes. Hailing from humble beginnings as the only Black family in a sundown town, Cynthia has shattered ceilings, broken barriers, and blazed trails to become a powerhouse of change and empowerment in the corporate world. With her dynamic spirit and boundless energy, she's not just walked the talk, but has paved a golden path for women in leadership across the globe. As the visionary founder of the National Association of Women Sales Professionals, Cynthia has championed women's ascent to senior positions, marking an impressive 25% uplift in their representation. Her accolades, oh, they're nothing short of spectacular. Picture this: the first Black woman to ever keynote a national sales conference, a 4 times Salesforce influencer, a 3 times published author, and a voice so impactful, LinkedIn crowned her a top voice. And it's not enough. Her insights and inspirations have graced over 250 media publications worldwide. But wait, there's more. Cynthia is the mastermind behind the "Thank You, It's True" revolution, battling the shadows of imposter syndrome and lighting up the path for women to confidently own their achievements. Her workshops and keynotes, they're not just events, they're transformative experiences that call you to action, break down barriers, and cultivate an environment where everyone thrives. So get ready to be captivated, inspired, and moved to action as we welcome to the stage the phenomenal, the trailblazer, the embodiment of empowerment and resilience, Cynthia Barnes. So let's give her a thunderous applause and embrace the change she's about to spark in us today.
How is everyone today? Give me a thumbs up. Some Barry Manilow jazz hands, maybe, for those of us who know who Barry Manilow is, right? Thank you, Mercedes. Thank you, Super Kate. For those of you who look confused, it's okay. Barry Manilow, he's a thing. He's a thing for those of us who know him. Yes. I have a question for you. How many of you love sales? No, not so much. How many of you know that there are only 2 functions within a company? Someone to make it, someone to sell it. That's it. You don't have any sales, you don't have any accounting, you don't need a bookkeeper, you don't need a marketer, you don't need social media. Sales is essential to your business. But yet, we don't like it. So tell me why. Why don't you like sales? Tell me in the chat or come off mute and tell me why you don't like sales. Let's just get it out there. Why don't you like it?
I don't like rejection.
Who said that? Who was honest enough to say that?
That was me.
Emily?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more.
Well, I think whenever you're selling yourself and you have to, you have to put yourself out there, and then people can say, they can say no. They don't have to, not everyone's going to say yes. So you always know that's a possibility. So you might be very excited about something and then, it doesn't work out, and then that can not feel good.
Okay. Could it be that there's an opportunity to reframe that, what you consider rejection? Are you open to that?
Sure.
Okay, good. Let's put a pin in that.
Okay.
Because I can give you all the cliches in the world about it's not personal and no simply means nothing changed. But I want to talk about that. So keep that for the Q&A, okay? Because that's important.
Okay.
Because that stops a lot of people.
Okay.
Heidi, I have to be 100% authentic in my selling and want to ensure I show up exactly as that. I do not like sales scripts, but rather my own natural script I customize with each client, but rough bullet points to include. Great points, Heidi. So today I want to talk about sales from a female perspective, because women sell better than everyone. Why do I say that? Because it's true. I have empirical data from people who are a lot smarter than I am that show that women on average sell 11% better than our male counterparts. Why do we sell better? How do we sell better? Because of things like empathy, higher levels of emotional intelligence, active listening skills, and being able to read nonverbal cues. These are the things that women possess innately. We don't have to work on these things. We don't have to take a course on how to have high levels of emotional intelligence. We do them naturally. That is why we are better sales professionals. The challenge becomes, how is it that in a system that is created for men by men, because they were the original salespeople, nothing wrong with those systems. I got to the top 1% using them. But how is it that we can become more comfortable in that system when the system wasn't created for us? That's the disconnect. So what I strive to do, and what we're going to do today, is to take those sales scripts that were not designed for us, and we're going to infuse them with the empathetic nature that is so unique to us and so innate to us, so that when we have those conversations, it's like second nature. How does that sound? Sound good? All right. All right. So let me share my screen to believe I am sharing this one. Is this the right one? Help me out. Is that the right presentation? Full screen? All right, cool. All right. So for our time today, did a little icebreaker, talked about the beauty of empathy. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. We're going to dissect the discovery call. And then I'm going to do some breakout sessions to help reinforce the material. And then we'll have some Q&A. Empathy is key in building relationships and understanding your client's needs. There is an old expression around the world by Theodore Roosevelt that says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You could have the greatest service in the world, the greatest product, but until your client knows that you understand their plight, they are not going to buy it. People need to feel that you understand them before they buy from you. If they do buy from you and they don't feel that connection, they don't feel that you understand their pain, they will have buyer's remorse. When they have buyer's remorse, they do not tell anyone about your wonderful service or product, even though it may be the best. If they do not tell anyone else about your product or service, then they don't become evangelizers. They don't go out and become walking billboards for how wonderful your product or service is. And you've just lost out on tens and tens and tens of sales. So it's almost like you did it for nothing. No one likes a one-night stand. And that's exactly what you're doing if you do not create evangelizers in your clients. So people say that clients and our buyers buy on logic. No, they buy on emotion. We all do. So when we ask questions in the discovery call, let me ask you this in the chat. Can you tell me, do you understand what I mean when I say the discovery call? Is there anyone that does not understand what I mean by the discovery call? Because if you don't, I can go back and explain that. Should I explain that, Crystal?
Yeah, Nicole
Okay.
raised her hand. She didn't understand.
Okay. So there is a sales process. First of all, you make contact with the person. I'm brushing over this. Let's say you're on LinkedIn. You make connection with the person. You set up a time to talk. You get past the gatekeeper. You set up a time to talk. And then you have this 25-minute session, whether it's over Zoom, whether it's in person. You are going to have what's called a discovery call. You want to find out a little bit about them, They want to find out a little bit about you. You want to talk about your product or service and find out whether or not your product or service matches what they need. You overcome the objections. And then if all the lights are green, they make a buying decision then and there, or you schedule another time to meet and go through it all again until they buy. If you were going to buy a car, when you go to the lot and you have a conversation with that salesperson, that is another form of a discovery call. Does that help explain what a discovery call is? You are asking questions to discover or uncover their needs. The discovery call is your way to determine, is this prospect worth my time? Are they a good fit for me? Do they have the urgency? Do they need it now? Do they have the money to pay? And do they have a need for what I have to offer? If those three things are not met, then that tells you this would not be someone I need to spend a lot of time with. If those three criteria are met, then you have a series of questions you need to ask them to get them to feel that you understand their plight. Again, if they do not feel that you understand them, you have not earned the right to ask for their business. Does that make sense how I explain that? Are we good to proceed? Yes, thumbs up. Okay. All right. So there are two things that you want to uncover in the discovery call. Number one is you want to understand the company and its challenges. The old way of asking that was, what are the top 3 goals your company's focused on achieving in the next year? A better way to ask that question would be, I'd love to learn more about your company's vision for the next year. What are you excited about achieving? You see the difference in that? You see the emotion in that? We're talking about feelings. What are you excited about achieving rather than the logical, transactional?
Cynthia,
When you,
I hate to interrupt, but could you also, just to help people who might struggle with this, twist this for those who are B2C also, in terms of if
Yes.
they're not talking to a company, but
Mhm.
to a person?
Yes. So sales can be in 2024 highly transactional. It is successful when it is relational. So let's say we're doing B2C, someone's buying a car. If you went to a car lot and someone asked you, what are the top 3 things you're looking for in your car? That is transactional. A better way to ask that question would be, what do you want to feel like when you're driving down the road? What's the feeling you want when you're driving down the road? Well, I want to feel excited about my car. If you're selling houses, what's the feeling you want to experience when you walk in your front door? If you're selling remodeling and you're remodeling bathrooms, ask the woman, what's the feeling you want when you step out of the bathtub onto your bamboo floor? That creates a painted picture. So now she's thinking about, oh my gosh, when I put my wet feet onto this heated bamboo floor and there's sage green walls around me, I can now picture myself in this bathroom. So now you, as the contractor who is trying to sell her contracting services on remodeling her bathroom, you've won her over because you've now gone from the transactional, what do you want your bathroom to look like, to what do you want to feel in your new bathroom? Does that painted picture make a difference? We're trying to tap into the emotion of your buyer. And when you bring empathy into the conversation, that's exactly what you're doing. So I want to ask, is there anyone here that doesn't understand how this concept it works? Should I go to another example?
No, I think everyone's looking okay.
Okay, good. All right. Another way that this is commonly asked is, what are the biggest obstacles preventing your company from reaching those goals? In the fitness industry, they tend to ask, what's preventing you from reaching your fitness goals? A better way to ask, if you want to infuse empathy, would be, I know there are some challenges in losing weight, in getting fit, in whatever it is that is blocking you from achieving your goals. What are some of the roadblocks? Roadblocks is more temporary than obstacles. You want to soften the pain, because if you soften it, then you are more likely to help them overcome it. An obstacle is almost like it's like insurmountable. Psychologically speaking, an obstacle, I can't overcome that. But a roadblock, you know what? You might be able to help me with that. You see the difference? It's all in words. Sales is highly psychological. Words have meaning and words have power. When you use the right words, those subtle little changes mean the difference between a sale and a non-sale. So we've got to be very careful about our words. And trust me, these make a huge difference. Any questions on the word choices? Is this making sense? Okay. All right. Thank you, Emily.
Yeah,
All right,
feel
here's
free to
another.
unmute yourself to ask any questions or clarifications, because with the screen sharing, it's really hard to see your.
Yeah, because I
actual
see
reaction.
Emily, Brittany, Isioma, Super Kate, and Crystal, and myself. I can't see anybody else. So please unmute yourself. If you have questions at all, disagree, agree, whatever, I want to hear from you, please.
Or use the raise your hand will pop your picture to the top, and we'll be able to catch you also.
Yes.
Do that.
Yes. So here's a third one. Can you describe a recent situation where these challenges caused a significant setback or missed an opportunity? Sometimes challenges can have a big impact. Would you be willing to share an example of a particularly frustrating time for your team? Frustrating. That's an emotion. When you talk about a situation where these challenges caused a significant setback, that's transactional, that's logical. When you talk about frustrating, I can remember a frustrating time. That ties into the emotion. Remember, people make decisions about buying based upon emotion, not logic. The more you can tie into the emotion and how they feel, you can tie into the pain. Someone once told me, Cynthia, if you can tap into someone's pain, their discomfort, then you tap dance on it every single time you can, and then give them a way out of that pain, then you will always be able to influence them to say yes. Nicole has a question.
Is that the same for men when we're selling to men?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
I
yes.
just
So,
think women are more emotional than men. So would that work with men?
okay, Nicole, let's be clear. As my friend Obama says, men are more emotional than women when selling to them. Case in point, I used to sell at Hair Club for Men. I sold the replacement pieces. And if there were plenty of times when men's hair pieces would come in and their monthly payment did not clear. So as they say, no money, no honey, right? So they did not get their hairpiece, but they can't very well go back to the office without their hairpiece. You would not believe the amount of tears, drama, cussing and fussing that went on in that office without them walking out without their hairpiece. So when people say women are emotional, I call BS on that, because I've seen men get down on their hands and knees and beg for their hair. Don't let anyone tell you that men are not emotional. When you tap into something that means something to them, like their appearance, all bets are off.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But you've got to tap into the emotion. What matters most? What matters most? Yeah. Other questions? Okay. Would you agree as a group that people pay for what they really want? So if a customer says to you, I can't afford it, do you believe them? Yes, no, maybe?
I'll chime in. I sometimes do if I know that because I work for a lot of places that have budgets and they
Mhm.
truly do not have the budget line, like they're over budget already or something like that. So it depends.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay. Have you, Christina, have you found that out before you do the discovery call?
Yes, but I've also learned don't rely on what they put into the discovery call because they'll tell me that they have under 5,000 and then through our talk I work them up to 10,000. So short, it's a wonky place.
Yeah, it is. In B2B, there are creative ways to find money. There are other departments to find money from. There are different line items that they can finagle to get what they want. It's called creative financing. Creative financing. Was someone in the chat, Crystal?
In the chat, we have, Angela's talking about bullying for discounts and free services.
Saying that they bully her
The customers, yeah, customers that bully for discounts and free services.
Mm,
And how you said, depends if they need it.
okay.
And Valerie agrees that actually with B2C, there's also creative financing. People will find a way to pay for what they want.
Yes. Yes. I've been in neighborhoods where I know without a shadow of a doubt that their car note is more than their rent. I'm sure we've all driven through neighborhoods where that's the case. I've driven through neighborhoods where the clothes that they wear are not indicative of their living situation. So there are people who live beyond their means all the time. They spend money on what they want. When I sold Mary Kay, they told me that there are two things in life that are recession proof: lipstick and cigarettes. No matter what the economy is doing, people will always have cigarettes. They will eat McDonald's hamburgers or tuna or ramen noodles, but they will have their cigarettes. They may buy Wet n Wild lipstick rather than L'Oreal, but they will always have lipstick. It's a matter of priority. It's a matter of priority. Okay. Any questions on this first batch of questions, understanding the company and its challenges? Okay. The next set of questions, well, before we do that, I'd like you to take a few moments and in the chat, based upon these questions about understanding the company and its challenges, what are you going to do differently in your discovery call as a result of that? As a result of taking and infusing more empathy into your questioning, what are you going to do differently? And we can break up in groups if we want to.
Actually, you know what? I'm wondering, given the discussion, maybe in the
I'd love to have a group discussion if that's cool.
group discussion, yeah. Well, why don't we
Yeah.
just do all of our discussions in big group?
Okay. That would be
Is
great.
that okay, Super Kate?
Great.
I love the idea of softening the obstacles. That's not something that I had thought of before. And like I responded instantly, viscerally when you said that. So I definitely can see where, because I hate the idea of fear-based selling and really, turning the screw on their pain. I hate that. But I know that they want relief from their pain. So
Yes.
like coming alongside them
Mhm.
and helping them see obstacles as just oh, this is just a speed bump. This isn't
Yeah.
a mountain that you need to climb over. I love
Yeah.
that idea.
And together we can get over it. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to help
Yeah.
you. Right?
Yes,
I think
thank
people,
you.
yeah, I think people respond well to that. My clients do. My clients do. Who else has?
To add to what Valerie just said, when we speak to or have them speak to their pain points, asking questions around, and how is that pain point impacting your life today? What is it? Where is it impacting your life, your relationships? What is it stopping you from? How often is it triggering you? So for me as a relationship coach, I would ask questions specifically around, how are these issues with this relationship impacting your well-being, your mental health, how you show up every day? So really trying to bring forward all the ways that their struggle is impacting them. And with that, there is a value there.
Mhm. Is there a way that you can ask that brings about, that taps into the emotion of it without the word impact? Because
Yeah,
impact
so
can
I
be
wouldn't-
transactional.
Yeah, I wouldn't use impact. I'm just using it here, but yeah, I would say, I would ask you, how does it make you feel when you get triggered 7 times a day? Like, what does that do to you inside? How does that affect how you
Yes.
show up in your friendships?
Yes.
Yes, I would definitely speak to the emotion, absolutely.
I love that. I love that, Heidi. Well done. Yes. 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 Who um who hasn't used empathy in their discovery calls, who is willing to try now? Anyone willing to try? Anyone at all?
Hey,
Hey.
hello, how are you doing? Yeah, I'd love to try more empathy, probably let the client kind of go through their emotions more.
Mhm.
Because I tend to, when I see what they're struggling with, I gonna tend to give the solution straight away at the
Mm.
discovery call, which probably not the great sales still. So because I could discover more, but when I
Right.
put the solution already in place, it's kind of stops the conversation going. So I would be using it, yeah, in a different way.
That's a really good point, and I'm glad you brought that up. Remember, we are the professional. We are the professional problem solver. And sometimes we can be very quick to identify the problem because we deal with the solution every single day, and we can say, you know what, I know what you're about to say, and I got the solution, and we're excited and we want to jump in, and boom, eureka. But we can't do that, because the moment we give them the solution without hearing them out, they feel, remember, they feel as if they have not been heard. Even though we're giving them solutions that they need and we know we can solve their problem, they haven't felt heard. So we've got to keep asking more questions, more questions, more questions, more questions, because when we get to the close and those 3 valuable questions I will give you at the end, when they feel that they have been heard and you ask these 3 questions, they will say yes to all three, and then they will ask, do you accept American Express? I promise you. Walk with me. Any other questions before we go on?
Actually, Cynthia, kind of following up from that, how do you know when they've been heard? Is there's something that tells you that they've actually fully expressed and felt like they've been heard?
I look at body language. If I look over the camera and if they're leaning forward, I look at facial expression. And then they start asking me questions like, how does it work? Or how would you solve that? Or do you know what I could do? When people feel heard, because rarely do are we involved in conversations where we are truly heard. Rarely do we come across salespeople who listen. So when you are the anomaly and you listen and you ask questions that deep questions. So how does that make you feel? Oh, that must be frustrating. Tell me more. I can't imagine. I mean, you are empathetic and you're almost like a therapist. Go ahead, Angela.
So my business, a lot of we do like creative services. And I get a lot of business from out of the state, sometimes out of the country, and everything is done via email. And once it's established, then it's by text. Do you have any thoughts? And then the contract is generated, it's signed off on, and then we exchange money, and then we provide our services. And many times I've never seen them, and they've never seen me. Do you have any suggestions about buzzwords or ways to express? Anyway,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. When you say creative services, can you give me a little more specifics on what you do? Like, is it web design or what is
we
it?
do. Like, we work with a lot of luxury retailers on from concept all the way to like everything from in-person, online, three-dimensional installations, props, like all sorts of stuff. And a lot of times I've never seen the people and they've never seen me. And we don't go on Zoom. I found Zoom I've lost business when we've gone on Zoom. And I'm being really candid on that. So it's not something, so I steer away from that. But I didn't know if there's any, based on what I'm communicating to you, if when it's all in writing or it's all in, images and drawings and all that stuff. I mean, once I get through that hurdle where they know that we're it, because we're kind of like we're the only solution for them anyway. I didn't know if there's any, because things pivot and change and move on, and that's my question. I'm gonna go mute.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. I would ask myself, how can I infuse personality and nuance into the sales process when I can't see my customers? So there's Voxer. So maybe your voice in voice text in Voxer on your phone, because you can't detect nuance through email or through text, right? So how is it that you can infuse nuance through the sales process? Could it be sending a cookie bouquet to them? I mean, there are a million and one ways. I have one client who I could not reach him. So I sent a box, had it created, and I knew he loved to fish. So you open up the box and it looked like an ocean and a whole bunch of blue and green, and it had waves and all this good stuff, had a whole bunch of poles, and it was like a three-dimensional type of thing. And he opened it up like those pop-up books that we see as kids. It had the poles, and it had a little note that said, "Notice there's no fish? Call me and I can help you get the fish." Corny as hell. He called. I mean, just little things like that. There are ways to infuse your personality into the sales process when you can't talk, when you can't get them on the phone. You are creative, Angela. You wouldn't be in the business you're in if you did not create experiential things, right? So the question you have to ask yourself with a sheet of paper is, how can I ... and then list 25 things. By the time you get to number 20, you'll have your answer. You are the magic. Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. Other questions?
I do.
Hi, Mercedes.
Hi. Am I on mute? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. So, and to kind of dovetail from what Angela was saying about, business to consumer, even if it's business to business, I'm business to consumer. I'm transitioning from a law practice, which I don't do any sales,
Okay.
to going back to my roots and selling luxury travel and destination romantic honeymoons, especially to my age bracket, which is 55 and over, especially when they're empty nesters. Having said that, for
You're
me,
over 55?
it is difficult. I am close to 60 at the end of the year. And it's just a nice HD on the screen. But for those of us that do B2C and it's, services, when we are pushing through so many other people doing the same thing, differentiating myself, and I'm a very empathetic person, so I can get straight to the empathy and how does this make you feel? How do you feel when how do you want to feel when you step off the plane? What is it that you want? But it's just getting to that pipeline amidst, so much noise, so much competition, and that people have 15 seconds of a visual. And if you capture it, amazing. And if you don't, there's a lot of great companies made by women that are struggling to try to get even that first sale. So that's kind of my question. And that could be B2B or B2C. It's, it's industry specific, but.
It's a great question because there is a lot of noise. Have you read the book, Blue Ocean Strategy?
Yes.
Okay. So you know the value of being unique.
Yes.
Your key is to be unique. How do you do that though? The key, in my mind, is to be the opposite. Whatever it is that they are expecting, you must be the opposite. So how can you be innovative in your industry? So like take, for example, taxis. Uber and Lyft totally became revolutionary in that industry. What is it that your industry does over and over and over again? And you say, you know what, that's really antiquated. What can you do to tip it on its ear? What is a process that is done over and over and over again that you can revolutionize? And that's going to be challenging, but not impossible.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it group travel for single women over 50? I don't know if anybody's ever done that. They've done that?
Yeah, no, actually, it's something that is in the process in my brain about trekking, solo travel, women travel, because they're and we as women, it's to choose to travel alone. Holy cow, why would you do that? But it's just such a liberating choice for any woman my age, or and above to, we choose to travel solo, not because of our circumstances, but we choose it. So that's what I want to tap into, that emotion.
And luxury, because a lot of women have worked so hard throughout their entire lives. Why not have a luxury experiential type of thing where I get to stay at those 5-star hotels that I would never get to stay at by myself, but because we're in a group, we can now get discounts, and I get to have the crystal and all of those good things that I would never even think of. If you can get women to dream big and then give them those big dreams, you're onto something. And because you can tap into group discounted prices, you can make their dreams a reality. Gondolas in Italy and yeah, silk sheets in Dubai. Come on now.
Thanks.
Just a thought. Just a thought.
No,
I'm just saying.
That's awesome. That's
The
awesome.
possibilities are endless. Okay. Any other questions before we move on? All right. I love how y'all think. Okay. Let me go back to where am I? Okay. All right. Here we go. Can you see my screen now? Yes. All right. Okay. All right. So we talked about understanding the company and its challenges. So now you've got to understand your buyer and their challenges. The traditional question is, what are some of your biggest frustrations in your current role? Again, this is B2B. We're going to infuse some empathy. I imagine every role has its own unique set of challenges. What are some of the things you find most demanding about your work? Again, tailor this for what you sell. We're wanting to know what is demanding and not necessarily frustrating. If I could you've heard this before, if I could wave a magic wand and fix one thing about your work life, what would it be? How about if you could change one thing to make your work days a little smoother, what would you wish for? It softens the magic wand idea, making it more approachable. So if you're talking to someone who, let's say, house cleaning, for example, or luxury travel, if you could experience one destination next year and you had no limitations, what would you experience? Not where would you go, not what would you see. If you could experience one thing, that opens it up to a world of choices. When you say, what would you see? That is limited to destination. When what would you experience opens it up to anything. You've got to tap into that emotion to get people to visualize, to feel, to think, to dream. Because when we do, we are tied to them emotionally. So here are some additional tips for empathy. Validate their feelings using phrases like, that sounds challenging. I understand how that could be frustrating. I understand. I feel. I get you. I can see. When people feel that we get them, they're more inclined to share with us. When they share with you, they feel like they have a partner in helping them solve their problems. I feel like Cynthia understands me and she's going to help me overcome my greatest problem, fear, challenge. You can offer a shared perspective, but be careful about that because you don't want to take the focus off of them. You can briefly include, you know what, I've been there. I struggle with my weight too, but together we're going to work on your fitness goals. Body language, maintain an open posture, make eye contact. Don't fold your arms because that means you're closed off. Nod to show engagement. If you need help with body language, there are plenty of books out there. Okay, so here is the close, and I want to be respectful of time. Here are the 3 closing questions that you must ask at the end of every conversation. And these, if you've asked the preceding 5 questions, the answers to these questions will be yes. So they used to be, do you feel I fully understand your company and its challenges? I would like for you instead to ask, So far, do you feel I have a good grasp of your company's unique needs and the challenges you're working to overcome? If you've done a good job of asking those discovery questions, then the answer is going to be yes. The next question, do you feel I fully understand your role and its challenges? Instead, I'd like you to ask, based on our conversation, do you feel I have a solid understanding of your responsibilities and the specific challenges you face within your role? Making sure that you use the specific word because it's going to emphasize your attention to their individual situation. The reason you ask this question is because you want to make sure that they feel that you get them. If you detect any hesitation, don't quickly jump in and say, "What did I miss?" You want to make sure that they fully answer this question, so you've got to stop after you ask and let them fully process and respond. It's the hardest thing we do as salespeople is ask a question and then stop. The third question is this. Given what we've discussed, do you think my expertise could be valuable in addressing the challenges you are facing? And if you're doing B2B, you and your company are facing. They're either going to say yes or no. If they say no, then that is an opportunity for you to go back and figure out what you missed. No is not a rejection. It simply means that there was a need that was not addressed. It's an opportunity to continue the conversation. But if you've done these questions, this answer will be yes, because they will have felt that you fully understand what their needs are and that you are equipped to handle them. Questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
So kind of given what we were talking about before with people can do creative financing to afford whatever they want. If they say, if they answer that last question, yes, but it's not in our budget, or yes, but something like that, how would you respond to that to, still get them to consider your services?
So the budget question is an interesting one. So when Michelle, I'll put that in there for you. So I find out before I have a discovery call question with someone what their budget is, because time is precious. And if they don't have the urgency, the budget, or the need, then I don't do a discovery call with them. So that would be the first thing. But if we get to that point and they say, well, we don't have the budget, then I would ask, it depends on how familiar I am with them. And I would say something about, what is your budget? What budget are you working with? If they say, I don't know, that tells me they're not the decision maker and I'm talking to the wrong person. So a lot of that could be, I have misjudged the situation and I'm just presenting to the wrong person. If they truly do not have the budget, I misjudged and I'm talking to the wrong person. If they truly don't have the money though, okay. Yeah, I'm barking up the wrong tree. Next.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Cynthia, Brittany asked, if you're B2C, do you recommend doing questions like that in terms of asking about their investment readiness or how to approach that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because your doctor, your dentist will get your insurance card from the jump before you even go in there. They find out, how are you paying? Your copay is due before services are rendered, correct? They don't wait till you're done and say, okay, how are you going to pay? They are professionals, as are you. I think a lot of times entrepreneurs are afraid to ask about money. I would love to help you overcome that fear and see yourself as the professional you are. We've got to overcome that fear of asking about money. So we've got to qualify people to and position ourselves as the professionals we are by saying, what's your budget for something like this? In my coaching, I ask, what is your budget for coaching? If they do not have the budget that is in line with my pricing, then I let them know, here are some other resources that are available to you. I don't want to waste their time, and I know they don't want to waste my time. Not everyone is a match or a fit. It's kind of like Match.com. I can swipe left and right, but not everybody's going to be a fit, right? And that's okay. It took me a long time to figure that out, but my father reminded me. He said, Cynthia, you are not free, easy, or cheap. So please stop acting like it. Well, okay, Daddy.
I have a follow-up question about charging people. Somebody told me that if they don't have to think about it at all and they just say yes, then your rates are too low.
Yes, Stephanie. Yes. Because it should hurt a little bit. I love my sports car. I drive a car that I love. And every month I pay for it, it hurts a little bit. And I get on the phone to prospect every day because doggone it, if Capital One calls and said, ma'am, we're here to take it, I would be crushed. So I work extra hard to keep it in my garage. I want it and I work for it. Yeah. We work for the things that we want. People are going to be more invested in whatever it is that you have if it hurts a little. If it hurts a little, they're going to take it more seriously. If they take it more seriously, they're going to get the value out of it. If they get the value out of it, then they tell their friends, do you know Stephanie's blah, 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 blah is wonderful. Then you've created a culture of evangelizers. Right? Yeah. Hey, Angela.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
I know, well, say you have like an initial conversation and there's interest, but they're not ready, like at this time of year or something. What is a good way, like when you're coming back, like in 6 months or something, to, kind of like touch base? What's a good opening statement?
I
Like,
normally don't
okay,
because I create the sense of urgency then.
okay,
So I prep them ahead of time and say, what we're about to talk about is like I send over the contract or the agreement and say, this is good for 72 hours or whatever, because I believe in now money, not 6 months from now money. And again, I want to make sure that I'm dealing with people who are ready to move now. I will put them on my mailing list and I will love them from afar, but I'm not going to count them as prospects.
got it.
If they come around, great. If they don't, but my system is such that I'm going to capture them now because I deal with hot people.
Got it.
Yeah. But that's part of the FOMO that I create as well. I want people who are ready to work now.
I like what you just said about putting like a time stamp or time limit on the price. And
Yeah.
I'd love also that you just put them in your, regular contacts,
Mhm.
And email them like what, every month or 2 months or something. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And I don't send over the agreement unless I am on a call with them. Because
Okay.
I will send it over and say, did you get it? And they'll say no. And I say, oh, well, let me check my email. They don't get it unless they're on a call with me because I want to be able to detect the
Right.
yeah. I want to be able to go over the agreement while I'm on the phone with them and answer any questions right then and there. Psychology.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Other questions?
Actually, a follow-up to that, Cynthia, in terms of the sending over the agreement while you're on the phone with them. What if it's like a custom quote or something like that? So do you schedule a follow-up call to go over the quote? And you send it to them at that point?
Yep. I never end a call without another call scheduled. I'll say, you're welcome, Brittany. I schedule the next call with that call on. I'll send over the agreement. Let's agree to meet 1 week from today at this time. We both put in our calendars. If it so happens that they cancel, they don't get the quote. They don't get the agreement. I'm a professional, as are you, right? No money, no honey.
So in a way, that's kind of limiting or kicking out people who are just shopping
Fishing.
and price comparing and
Looky-loo.
looky-loos.
Looky-loos, yes.
So, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for having me. Thank you, Crystal.